Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we're going to have Dave. Dave is from Boston in the USA. So let's see what Dave has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hello,
Good
can you hear me?
morning. Yes, I can. Hello, Dave.
How
Can you
about
hear me?
now? Yes, I
Yeah.
can.
Oh my God, I like your headset.
How's this? Good? The audio's good?
Amazing. Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Perfect.
So how are you?
So far, so good. You know, Saturday morning here in the United States, so it's beautifully sunny for now, but that may change because it's New England and it's how we roll.
Tell me, are you more of a day or night person?
Very much a day person. I used to be a night person, but I coach gymnastics full time. So during the summer, especially, we have summer camp. So it's early morning. And so being a day person is essential.
Amazing. So tell me, where are you from, Dave?
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts in the United States. Originally from, because no one's really like from Boston. I'm originally from one of the suburbs, which is about 12 miles north, and it's the town of Reading.
I see. And what's the best part of waking up over there every morning?
The best part of waking up here every morning is watching like the sun come into my windows and knowing that I have a full day of rowdy children ahead of me.
Ooh. And what do you do for work, for living?
So full time, I coach gymnastics. I'm the assistant director of a gymnastics center here. It's called Massachusetts Gymnastics Center. I coach ages 2 to 18, but I specialize in 4 to 13-year-old recreational boys classes, and then 10-year-old to about 18-year-old competitive women's gymnastics.
And how started your career as a gymnast coach?
So I've been a gymnast since I was 2 years old. I'm a twin, so I was at a very young age. I was really little, and my mom wanted to put me in an activity that would strengthen me, but not have me smashing into other little kids. So my pediatrician suggested gymnastics, and I started very young, and then joined the competitive team and have been involved in gymnastics for that entire time since I was 2 years old. So
Wow.
in high school, I started coaching because I was sick of working at the local grocery store, and my career just kind of took off from there, so to speak. So,
Wow. And do you have a twin brother or twin sister?
twin sister.
Wow. Amazing. And she used to practice gymnastics as well or not?
So she did not. No. I started so young, and I kind of just like fell into my activity as a youngster. She took a little longer to figure out what she wanted to do. So she did art and horseback riding and swimming and all that stuff. So she kind of been boop, 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 like all over the place with her activities. So no, she was not a gymnast also.
Right, Dave. Before we start our journey, William the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
Something interesting about myself. I've been sober for 3 years. So that is a huge part of my life, is my sobriety and my community. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Amazing. So for the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your journey so far and also about your joyous life, okay?
Excellent. Sounds good to me.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey for your memories in life and to share your point of view?
Absolutely.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got here my best friend. Okay, from the fun questions. I'm just going to play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Let's do it. Hey, Dave, before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Amazing. First question for you is, what is your funniest memory of your time at school?
My funniest memory of my time at school. Let's see. So I think the funniest memory of my time in school was when I was in college and I was a cheerleader. And we had a big basketball game, and I invited my boyfriend at the time, all of his friends, and then also my parents. So my parents were sitting in the front row of the basketball game, and directly behind them was my boyfriend and all his friends. Now, rowdy gay men at a college basketball game just commenting and cracking jokes, and I'm like right in front of them doing all the cheer stuff, and I can see my boyfriend leaning into my mom and whispering in her ear every few minutes, and she just kept laughing. And what had happened was like all of my friends were like catcalling the players, catcalling me, like being just fresh and sassy gay men, and my boyfriend just kept leaning in and apologizing to my mom. And I wasn't sure what was going on until afterwards my mom came up to me and just says, "You have very colorful friends." Oh God. So that was pretty funny.
Oh dear. And how was for you growing up as a gay boy?
So, growing up as a gay boy, it was pretty obvious from a young age that I was gay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of me at my first competitive year in gymnastics. We would always get like team photos done, and like individual pictures would be done. And so when you're in men's gymnastics, your hand is supposed to be nice and flat when you salute. But in women's gymnastics, your finger is dropped and your hand is like this. And there's a little picture of me at 5 years old with this little gay hand, just like so cute, so obvious. And so my family was always very supportive. My aunt actually came out to my father as a lesbian so that when I came out, I had a safe space to be gay. Not that my father was ever unsupportive, but she just saw it, that picture, she's beep, 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 that little picture, and was like, I need to make sure that he has good groundwork to come out at. As far as like school and all that, I was horrendously bullied, but I was teeny tiny and queer, and it really wasn't until I got to high school, which was in the early 2000s, where Queer as Folk and Queer Eye for the Straight Guy was starting to pick up some momentum here in the United States. And so by the time I was a senior in high school, every cheerleader, every popular girl wanted a gay best friend. So I was lucky enough that like towards the end of high school, when it was becoming like super obvious and like my sexual desires were coming out, that it was cool to be gay. And so I kind of grew up in like, as far as my generation is concerned, kind of like the best time to come out.
And the day when you came out, did something happen, or just felt like, okay, I'm just gonna, be my true self. I'm gonna open up to my family and friends.
So when I came out, there's an organization here in Boston called Bagley, which is the Boston Alliance of Gay and Lesbian Youth. And it's a youth group that meets every Wednesday, and they sit with the youth of Massachusetts, and they have meetings about sex and transgenderism and all of the things that make you like a young queer person. And they have quarterly dances. So there's like a Halloween dance, there's like a Valentine's Day dance, there was a big prom. And so I was 16 years old, and my friend group wanted to go to the big Halloween dance that this organization put on. So I went, I kissed my first boy, I danced like with all these queer people, these queer youth. And I got home the next, that night, and Sunday morning, my dad is at the kitchen table, and I'm regaling him with how wonderful it was and how exciting, this experience was. And he just like looks up from the paper and says, "So this is you?" And I said, "Yes." He's like, "Okay, love it." My father had worked in New York. So my dad's a New Yorker. So he had worked in the theaters of New York City.
Oh.
And so it doesn't really get much gayer than that. So he had seen it all. And then about 6 months later, I met someone I wanted to like chat with, and I was interested in somebody, and I kind of went to my dad and said, "Oh, I kind of want to meet up with this boy in the city, whatever." And he's like, "Just tell your mom, because we need to know where you are and all that stuff, because you're 17 years old, like, stop." So walked out to the backyard and I said, I want to go meet a boy for a date. And mom was like, okay, just like keep your phone on you. So very nonchalant, there was no like, there was no crying. There was no, we left. It was just like, cool, have fun. Don't get hit by the train.
Oh, that's sweet. Very sweet.
Yeah.
I think you are lucky to have parents like that. You know what I mean? You know, in our community, how there's so many tragic stories there. And it's good to see, you know, some people with a different, you know, a different support, let's say, you know what I mean? With a different story to tell. Amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very, very fortunate for sure.
Amazing. Next question.
Bye.
Next question, Dave. Right. How would you describe a perfect, healthy relationship?
Perfect, healthy relationship. I would definitely describe the perfect, healthy relationship as being full of communication. I think, especially being gay men, I think we have so many different ways that relationships can work, ways that a relationship can look. We don't have the biological timeline that a heterosexual relationship has. And so we can kind of carve our own path. The most important thing is letting the other person know where you're at, what you're feeling, what your needs are, even if that's scary. Like, even if it means there needs to be some adjustment of everyone's expectations. Communication is imperative.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think for you to, you know, to maintain and to, you know, a relationship, I think is the main key. As sometimes can be difficult and hard because there are some topics that you feel like, oh my God, how am I going to talk about that, or how am I going to, you know, express myself this way? But it comes with time as well, and the most you get close to the person, you feel more comfortable and more confident as well. But it needs to be there. I think all the time needs to be there completely.
100%, 100%.
Do you believe that there are different kinds of love?
Absolutely. I absolutely do think there's different kinds of love. There's, you know, obviously there's love between a parent and a child and their parent, your brother and sisterly love, your friendship love, and then, you know, romantic love. But there's also, you know, different like mix-ups of that. Yeah. Some of us have loving relationships with friends that go beyond family. I'm lucky enough that my family's amazing, but some people have to build their own. And that is something that is like a different type of love that is like even more, it's even more important than that kind of obligatory, you have to be in love with this person because of your family. And it's tough for some people to realize that your family love is something you sometimes have to walk away from. And you have to build relationships with people where the love is so true and so strong. And I think that's, you know, especially as gay people, we have to be able to choose our own family.
Which person in your family you are more close to?
My twin sister, 100%. I mean, I love my mom and dad. They're amazing, wonderful. Me and my twin sister have a relationship that is kind of indescribable to people who don't have a twin. We have that thing where like she texts or calls and I'm like, I kind of have an idea what's going on. I've woken up some mornings and I just feel this like either like a pit of kind of like something's off, or I wake up and I'm in like an unreasonably good mood and I'm like, that's strange. And it's that kind of, you know, unspoken connection between the two of us, which is, you know, as we get older, I feel like it's even getting stronger because we are apart a lot more. And so that kind of like psychic connection is tight these days. So
who was born first?
Her. 30 seconds. She's only 30 seconds older than me. And she never lets me forget it. Like,
what's the biggest difference between both of you and the biggest similarity?
Biggest difference, I think, is our interests, actually. It's funny. She's a gamer. She likes video games. She likes her all of the wonderful world of fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons. And she's a little tabletop gamer. Whereas I'm much more, you know, athleticism and art and going out and being social. Like, that's our biggest difference. Our biggest similarity is our kindness. I mean, I'm known as a very, very nice person. She is next level nice. Like, she is just sweet as apple pie. There's like, if she doesn't like you, that's a wrap on you. You're awful. You're a terrible human being. Like, that's just how it is.
Wow. Beautiful. What's her name?
Her name is Allison.
Amazing. I can see Allison watch this interview and is smiling right now.
Absolutely.
Next question. Right, Dave. Of course, you already mentioned about your sober journey so far. Yes, sobriety. Also, I could see in your profile saying sober activist. Yeah. So
yes,
tell me, walk me through a little bit about your before you became sober. Walk me through a little bit how things started, and when was the moment that you said, okay, I need to stop that now. I need to start a new journey. So walk me through a little bit about the challenge until get to the point where you change it.
All right. So, I didn't really drink or use drugs in high school. I was the captain of the high school gymnastics team. I worked full time, is in a lot of honors classes. And so they didn't leave much time for that kind of life. So once I got to college, I started to drink. And the thing is with people who are in addiction and who are alcoholics, you have a lot of undiagnosed mental health issues. For me, it's depression and anxiety. And as a shy little boy, as soon as I started to drink, I was able to come out of my shell. So there's, about 20 years of that, of just continually using substances to be myself. Drinking led to drugs. And for a long time, I was just so self-destructive, so destructive, everything else. So I was like just a terrorist in my own life. Mm-hmm. And I had gotten sober for the first time about 9 years ago. I got 2 drunk driving convictions. And so it was court ordered that I had to stop drinking and using for an amount of time. In that time, I kind of started to realize that my life was a lot more manageable without substances. But a few years after that first initial time, I got pulled back into the circuit scene here in the United States, which is all the club boys. And that led me back to some of the harder drugs that I was into. Got to 2019. I was in Provincetown, Massachusetts for Carnival. I was at a pool party on the Monday, and this beautiful man walked into my life. We really hit it off that week. We were fiery and fun. He's actually from London. He's from the UK. So the bulge in the accent got me hooked. And I was like, whoa, who's this guy? And we fell madly in love. Full stop. We started a long distance relationship, which lasted from September of 2019. Or started in September of 2019, and then the pandemic hit. While I was with him for those months from September through the pandemic, I didn't feel the urge to use. I didn't feel the urge to drink. I had found something that had made me feel like myself, which was this incredible love. And so March hit. We all know what that was like.
Absolutely.
He flew over and surprised me right before everything shut down. There's a viral video still circulating on Twitter of him sitting on this bed, me sliding my door open and just jumping on him because I had no idea he was here. When the pandemic hit, I had never experienced the physical addiction. I had always kind of like gone out, done some of the fun drugs, and then kind of moved into the darker, scarier stuff as like my brain was just like seeking that continuation of the high. I'm sitting there in the middle of the pandemic, like 2 weeks in, and my body like needs drugs. I've never really experienced that. And at the end of the couch is my beautiful man. He might as well have been on the moon because I was so...
Just a question. During this time, when your body was asking for the substance, for the drugs, how long didn't have anything, any contact with? We were sober already. For how long?
Yeah. So I had been sober at that point. So it was September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So about 6 or 7 months.
Okay, sorry,
And
carry on.
so yeah, about 7 months in, and then the pandemic hits and like a ton of bricks. And I was so concerned about being strong through the pandemic, because you're watching online of everyone's doing like their TikToks and everyone's learning a new thing and everyone's like taking advantage of this new free time that no one has. And I was so concentrated on being like a strong like survivor of the pandemic that I just completely shut down. And again, he was at the end of the couch. He might as well have been on the moon. I was so closed off. So we stayed together for a couple of months. He flew back to London. And then I kind of started slowly going back to work. And then the end of June, from white knuckling this sobriety, it took one little, like, it's in the end of June. I go to the beach with my friend. I see some of my friends that I haven't seen in a long time. And there's just this like disconnect of friendship. Like all of a sudden, like I just felt a descent. That little stupid thing made me text one of my friends I knew had drugs, jumped in an Uber, went to this man's house and had a 7-day drug bender. Like I had been holding on so tight that like it just, my grip slipped. And when you are 5 hours behind somebody and you're trying to maintain a long distance relationship, there's certain windows of opportunity where I can chat with my boyfriend and chat with my, I just kept like missing those or cutting it short or being, because I was messed up on drugs. And so finally on July 4th, he texted me, he's like, we need to talk. And I knew exactly, he had figured it out. We FaceTimed, he said, you're lying to me. And I said, I absolutely am. And he ended things. It was that moment where I was like, I was going to marry this man 100%. It was the love of my life. This was everything I had ever wanted. Every birthday I had ever had, I wished on my birthday candles for a man like this. And in 1 week, boom, done. And I realized that this was it. This was the rock bottom. This was my time to turn it around. And July 5th, 2020 is my sobriety date.
Wow. Are you still together?
We are not. We are very good. We're good friends. We took about a year for us to like really reconnect. We had kind of gotten back in touch about a month or so after, and we just kind of stayed in the loop of each other. We just took some time over the couple of years to kind of figure things out, and it was devastating for both of us. So we are now very much in each other's lives. I text him often. He texts me. We do FaceTime. We talk. We chat. And so we both kind of understand what happened and what needed to be. And, we always say, right person, wrong time, wrong continent.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, by the way, Dave. Thanks so much. I think, people watching this interview, they might appreciate that because, all of us will have those challenges in life that, you meet someone special and suddenly you're not prepared enough and suddenly things go in a different direction and you feel guilty and suddenly things turn around again. So that's life, at the end of the day, that's just life.
Exactly.
Okay, so I would like you to answer the next question with your best British accent, okay?
Oh, God. Okay.
Wanna try?
I will try.
All right. Amazing. Okay, Dave, next question is, do you have any pet peeves?
Oh, I've got a couple of pet peeves. That's as much as I got. Every time I would do my British accent, my ex, Sean, he'd be like, you have to stop. I was like, I'm trying. All right. Do I have any pet peeves? Absolutely. Entitlement. Ugh. People with entitlement, huge pet peeve of mine, 100%. Also, another pet peeve of mine is when people lift weights right in front of the weight rack and I can't get to the weights.
Ooh. Tell me something. When you analyze yourself, when you think about yourself, what's the best part of being Dave? What's the best part of being you?
a good question. The best part of being me, I think the best part of being me is that I'm vulnerable and open about everything in my life that has kind of gone wrong. I pride myself on being a role model for not only the kids that I coach, but also on the community that I've been a part of my whole life. It's easy for us to sit there and to put all our best feet forward on Instagram and Facebook and all these social media stuff. To have someone be extremely forthright with everything that all the mistakes they've made.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that a lot. And I was something, kind of a gap in social media that I feel like I made my best effort to fill. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I still put up a bunch of shirtless selfies and all that stuff to put a good face and body forward. But it's the vulnerability that I pride myself on.
Absolutely. And again, I think if you feel like showing off your body, if you feel confident, all of us will have those moments that we feel very confident and you just want to show off and you just want to have a moment, why not? They are not right or wrong. It's just how you feel, how you express yourself.
Exactly.
Ready for another question?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Right, next question is, what is the funniest gift have you ever received?
Funniest gift I have ever received. Ooh.
Or the strangest or funniest?
So I can tell you about the funnest and the gifts I had gotten. Yeah. Every year that the teenage group that I coach, the older girls, we always have a little like secret snowflake gift exchange. And it was my 30th. So my birthday is Christmas Day, so that's first.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yes. Oh my God, so much sharing with a twin sister. I share it with my sister and the Lord. It's a lot. So
it must be amazing. Like, imagine the day, Christmas Day, must be like double Christmas for you and for your sister. Like,
yeah, my parents definitely have done our best, and nobody ever forgets my birthday. That's the thing. So like, my Facebook is always like the list of like happy birthdays is enormous.
Wow.
So every year we do like a little secret snowflake with my kids, and it's I'm always like, you plan it, you do it, you do your thing. So this one year, it's my 30th birthday, and we're there. I'm getting ready at the end of the night to kind of get ready to go home or whatever. And I'm letting them do their thing. And then they say, oh, like, come on in. We want you to watch us open gifts. So I walk into the back room where we all have like the party room and stuff at work. And no one's opening anything. And it's just everyone's standing in front of like a package or a little bag. And what they had done is, instead of getting gifts for each other, they had all gotten gifts for me. And it was all these like super personal, inside jokey, like, it was just one of those moments where I was like, every single gift was like so thoughtful, so cute, so funny. I think that's probably like some of the best and funniest, so to speak, gifts that I've gotten.
Amazing. I'm going to remember your birthday always, okay?
There we go. Love it.
Next question. Right, Dave, before the next question, tell me what's the best part of being a gymnastics coach and the most challenging part?
Oh. So the best part is by far working with children is so humbling. Working with children is incredibly humbling and incredibly rewarding. They don't mess around. They're very honest, they're very forthright, they're very emotional. The best part is for sure cultivating a young child through the gymnastics process and watching their confidence build, we have kids come in that are just, no one believes in them, or they don't believe in themselves, and holding them accountable and holding them at a high standard of athleticism, regardless of their body type, really builds confidence. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the best parts is building that confidence and being a role model for kids, because they'll remember you for the rest of their lives. I mean, I run into my students because I've been coaching for so long, like I run into students all over the place, and to be an openly gay man in any child's life, I think is fantastic, because no matter who they run into, who tells them what, they'll always think in their mind, Mr. Dave is gay and I loved Mr. Dave, and that will stick with them forever. So the most challenging part is we have to be so much. We have to be good at coaching gymnastics. It's a very technical sport. We have to be like therapists for these kids. We have to be, like we have to manage so much emotion. And especially post-COVID, we are running into an enormous amount of separation anxiety, an enormous amount of fear, because it was global trauma, like global trauma across the board. And you're seeing the results of that trauma in every iteration possible. And so dealing with that now is so hard. Years ago, it was a little bit easier in the sense of like, you could use a pretty blanket technique for coaching, but now because every little kid is dealing with this extreme experience, trying to figure out what works for each child is getting harder and harder because the reactions are so big and so drastic and so different. And that's definitely the hardest part.
Mr. Dave, tell me something.
Uh-huh.
Which age is a good age for children to start gymnastics? There is an age, or how does it work in your opinion, in your experience?
So I think the younger the better.
Okay.
We have, as if they can walk on their own, we can teach them gymnastics. And that's
Wow.
one thing that it develops balance, strength, coordination, better than even we've had some kids who are in occupational therapy to help them move through the world more efficiently because of handicaps and stuff like that. We have had parents pull their kids from occupational therapy because gymnastics is doing a better job. And so
Wow.
I think the younger the better, like, like it teaching you how to fall correctly, teaching you how to catch yourself, how to like balance, I think is so important. And if you have a good foundation at a young age, I think that's the best. But anyone can start at any time.
Another question, Mr. Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have more girls or boys as students?
Girls, for sure.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. There, for a multitude of reasons. One is competitively, the women's gymnastics team here in the United States have been much more successful and therefore much more televised, therefore much more celebrated. The boys, as far as how they stack up in the world of gymnastics, the U.S. men are extremely talented and very good at what they do, but they are not top tier in the world. And so therefore in the United States, you got to win to get recognition. And so just as a sport, men's gymnastics has not been celebrated as much as it can be. Plus there is, of course, which is frustrating, annoying, and silly, but the gymnasts are gay stigma or it's stereotype. And so little boys are in the United States traditionally pushed for the more masculine sports. And therefore we just see a lot less boys involved with the sport because of that also.
Wow, interesting. Just made my day now. I never thought this way, actually. And I love gymnastics. I love watching gymnastics.
Yeah,
my
of
God,
course.
those, you know what I mean? Those athletes, when they are doing their, my God, I think got goosebumps now. But when I watch them, like, it's just like, wow, my goodness, it's beautiful. It's an art. For me, it's like art they are doing. They are literally flying. When they pose, you know what I mean? As I said about the hands, when they, it's just a beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
Incredible.
And such a hard work behind. My God, it's just, you can see when, you know what I mean, their emotions, their nerves, you know what I mean, their body, like, you can see that's not easy, but it's just like an art, to see as an art when they are performing.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Next question for you is, what's the scary thing that happened to you?
The scariest thing that's ever happened to me. Okay, that's hard. There have been a lot of scary moments in my life as far as, so when you do drugs and I think for sure the scariest things in my life were like the 2 times that I got arrested for drunk driving. You know what you did. It's, that there's this moment where like you're settled in to the cell that you're in and you realize everything is about to change and not for the better at that moment, let's say. So those are the times where I can really feel like were some of the scariest for me. It's just that despair of like, I've done it, I've gotten caught, and God knows what's up. One of the other scarier things in my life was, of course, when I was 4 years old, my sister had to have open heart surgery. She was experiencing a lot of strange symptoms for a good amount of time of swelling of her face. She was getting sick a lot. It was like just her body was being crazy. And the final diagnosis was that you have a sac around your heart called the pericardium, which is what kind of houses your heart. And hers was just too tight. And so they had to go in and just take it off. Like, you can take it off. But it was also 1989. And so it was full open heart surgery at 4 years old for her.
Wow. I've
spoken to my therapist at length about this time in my life. And traditionally, adults don't remember that 4 years old is a little bit pushing the limit of memory. I remember everything from that time, like clear as day.
Wow.
And so to sit there and to like watch my sister going through that, I think is for sure probably the scariest time in my life, for sure.
Oh God! Wow! Wow! Yeah. What a moment! My goodness. Yeah. Beautiful. I think that's why, I mean, you are twins, you are so connected, but I think this made even more the connection, like to get together. Somehow part of you were there, you know what I mean? Was there as well.
Absolutely, 100%, absolutely, yeah.
Ooh, look at my body. Ooh, goodness. Right, Dave, I have 3 questions left for you. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Next question is, where is the most exotic place have you ever been?
The most exotic place I have ever been is probably Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It's one of my favorite places. It's like the P-town of Mexico. It's just absolutely delightful. And I had gone back in 2017 with my friends who would go every year. And they're like, you should come, you'd love it. And they were right. It was great.
You know, the funny thing about the show, The Magic Box, you know, I have so many people around the world that participate on the show. And of course, you know, there's places that I never heard before, I never been, and Puerto Vallarta was one of the places that I was like, oh, where is that? And I had this lovely man, I think he was in Texas, and he kind of educated me about Puerto Vallarta, told about it's a gay place, it's a gay, you know, and and since then I had like maybe 2 or 3 more from there. And so it's it's a kind of a gay point where people,
right? So you guys go to Stitches in Spain.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's our version of that.
I see. So,
yeah.
Okay. 2 questions left. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Right, before the next question, tell me a moment in your career as a gymnastic before you started as a coach, a moment that you're never going to forget. Tell me something that happened that's always going to have a special place in your heart. And the other part of the question is, as a coach as well, the same experience. Tell me a moment or situation that you go like, you know what, that's always, I will remember.
So as an athlete, for sure, I was extremely competitive from like 5 to 12, and I really skyrocketed through the gymnastics program. Was always kind of like the youngest in my age group, and I met with an enormous amount of success, but I was just so beaten down by 12. I quit for a few years, and I went back in high school and I joined the high school gymnastics team, and it was a girls team. And so men's gymnastics has 6 events, women's gymnastics has 4, different disciplines. I'd always wanted to do the balance beam. I'd always wanted a floor routine with music. And I joined my high school gymnastics team and had to teach myself all of these women's skills. It was like hard, but I was so determined. So my senior year, I was the captain of the team. I had a significant back injury about 12 weeks before my senior year season started. And I had a few weeks to get back into shape and get on the competition floor. So it's the last meet of my season. And I tell my friend group, like, hey, this is the biggest meet of our year. Like, if you guys want to come, like, whatever, cool. And so many people, all my friends showed up and took up like a huge stretch of the bleachers. And every single time I stood up, to
Ooh.
go, they would roar. It was so loud. Like the whole play, I would watch the entire meet. So the last meet of the year is all the high schools in your region. And so it's 8 to 10 schools all there, all competing. And everyone would just look like, and then they would look to see like who's going, like who's like, I was definitely good in high school. Like I had some good skills. I had a lot of, whatever, but I was hardly like the star of Middlesex League gymnastics at that time. But at that moment, I was, because they were just exploding with excitement.
Oh my God.
That was like, as a competitor, that was for sure my best and most exciting moment. And then I think going to, as a coach, kind of my proudest moments, we have 2 programs at my gym. One is college gymnastics bound, which is they work out 5 days a week. They do about 15 competitions a year. It's intense. Then we have the little bit less competitive group, which does about 6 meets a year and comes twice a week. Still competitive. I'm part of both programs. So the college bound program we have been champions in our gym for a very long time. And there was a point in 2011 where I was sat down by my coach and he said, I'm giving you your own group of kids to work with on all 4 events. If they suck, it's your fault. Oh my God. And
no pressure.
And I had 8 little kids and I sat them down and was like, girls, let's go. Like this is what Mr. Patrick said to me. He said, if you suck, it's my fault. And they're like, we're gonna suck. And we were undefeated that year. We won states. We also, after that level of states, we moved up a level and went to states for that level and took 3rd. So that's like the prime kind of like my super sixes is what I call them, because they were level 6 and they were just amazing. And one of them, so that was in 2012. One of them works for me now, and she will look up at our banner on the wall and be like, the good old days. And I was like, yes, girl. So that was that team's moment.
Wow.
And then the less competitive team, I had been dating somebody who coached the same level as me on the less competitive and the less and he broke up with me, and it was like a bad breakup. Like he was cheated on me. He was like, and so I knew I was going to be facing him at the state championships with this other team.
Ooh.
And I just knew what to do. I knew how to get these kids, even though they were only a few days a week, I knew how to get them to where they needed to be. And I started working so hard. And one of my girls saddled up to me one day and she goes, this is because we're going to see your exit states, isn't it? And I was like, how do you feel about that? And she was like, let's kick his ass. And and we worked so hard, and we did. We kicked his ass, and we were sitting at the award ceremony at States, and we were I was walking by to get up to my kids with our trophy, and he like leans in, he's like, you beat me. And I was like, yep, that was the point.
You forgot to do like this. In Brazil,
yeah, I was like,
yeah, in Brazil we have the thing like just when you have this situation, just like
yeah, exactly. So those are by far my kind of like moments of my career.
Back to Mr. Dave again.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Dave, one question. When, for example, as an athlete, when they start, their career, they want to get professional, they want to follow a career. Do you think it's essential to train every day or not?
So your body definitely needs time to rest. I think with gymnastics especially, and with women especially, consistency is paramount. You have to be consistent. That's true of any athletics. I should take that whole. Athletics in general, consistency is paramount. With gymnastics and how much fine motor skill tuning and adjustment and training and muscle memory is required, I think if you're going to be intensely competitive, you should work out 5 days a week or so.
See.
And you can still 100% gain skills, gain incredible success with less hours, less days, 100%. I see it every single day. It's part of my job. And we have class kids who come once a week, who between September and June completely transform themselves, which is great. But if you're looking for that level of professionalism that you kind of see on television, and, you know, if you are looking to be Simone Biles, an enormous amount of training is required. When you see competitive gymnastics on television, those athletes work so many hours and have so much training under their belts that all of that is muscle memory. They just go, and it just happens. If anyone watched the Olympics in 2021, Simone Biles had her whole thing that she kind of fell apart. Stress and anxiety break down that muscle memory. Your brain is flooded with chemicals that interfere with your flow, interfere with your natural ability to just do it. And so your fight or flight can kick in when stress and anxiety is super high. It's exactly what happened to her. Like, her brain chemistry was just like, absolutely not are we flipping, absolutely not are we twisting, absolutely not. So even at that high level, you know, it can be crazy. It can just stop working. You can just stop working. But if you want that level, if you want perfectionism, which is what the sport is unfortunately based off, like, if you want that, a lot of hours are required.
Next question is, what does money mean to you?
What does money mean to me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Money means security. Money means money does not, you know, it's the classic saying, money does not buy happiness, but money buys peace of mind. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think I have friends and family that range from struggling every day, paycheck to paycheck, 2 or 3 jobs, to friends of mine that have more money than God. And
like that.
Trust and believe, like,
introduce them to me, please.
Right? I mean, I like, I have friends who are like jumping in their private jets and flying themselves to P-Town for the weekend.
Tell them to fly to London, and I'll give them a show around, okay?
Right. I mean, even one of my most recent ex's best friend had a private jet. We went to like Key West in Florida for New Year's. It's cool.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's cool.
Right. It was cool. I was like, this is lit. Like, what do you mean with no security? We just get in this thing like it's a car? What? So, but for me, like, I mean, again, money is peace of mind. Money is security. Now that I'm in my late 30s, like, for sure, financially, I'm much more stable than I've ever been, which is nice to like sit there and not have to be kind of laying in bed crunching numbers of like, okay, like I want to do this and this and this and this. You know, I definitely would love more money. I think anyone who is not kind of independently wealthy or comes from money would like more. But I also understand that, like, I don't need it to be happy. You know?
Yeah, I think, as I said, I agree. I think it's a peace of mind, you know what I mean? But, you know, people, you can confuse sometimes, you know what I mean? Because
yeah,
can be so, like, you can be richer than God, as said, and not be in a place. And same time as well, you don't have that much of money and you are the happiest person. So it's all balanced somehow.
Yeah, like some of my friends that have a lot of money or have, they're miserable. Yeah. Like, I sometimes think, and I see them and I'm like, it would be nice to like, there's a little bit of envy at sometimes with like the comfort and availability to experiences that they have access to. But then I know, then I'm around them and I'm like, you're not happy. I'm way more happy at where I am with my kids, my sober group, the man that I'm seeing currently. Like, I'm happy, and you have 10 times more money than me, and you're just always kind of feeling alone. No thanks.
I was watching an interview back in Brazil I was a teenager, and this entertainer asked someone, said, "Oh, they're talking about money," and he said, "I prefer to go back home crying in a limousine than go back home crying on the bus."
Cool.
I don't forget that.
Either way, you're still crying, so I'd rather not be crying.
Good one. I love that. Absolutely. Still crying, still suffering. Absolutely. you are in a bad place. It doesn't
Right,
matter.
exactly. Look inward. Oh my God.
Last question, let's do it. Right, before the last question, people watch the interview right now. Maybe someone, you know what I mean, has been struggling with addiction, you know, and maybe they would like to, you know, turn around the journey and start a sober journey. What would be your best piece of advice?
Best piece of advice to someone who's looking to start a sober journey is to find help and community. The hardest part of any addict's journey is admitting you have a problem, which is of course huge. The next step is always to find like-minded people to help you out. As men, we are almost always, we're brought up in a world where asking for help is seen as weak. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. It is not, we are a community-based species. Every single thing we do in our lives, the t-shirt you wear, the vacation you went on, the picture you take, the cologne you put on, the shampoo you use, it's all about finding connection with other human beings. And to deny yourself that and to think you're strong by being a lone wolf and not needing anybody, lone wolves die. Wolves need a pack. It's not a thing. Like, you have to be able to find your tribe, your pack, your pride, all of those things. And if you want to get sober and you are serious about it, you have to find other people who have gone through what you're going through and have experienced what you're experienced and have survived and done well. That is like top notch. That's exactly what you have to do.
Amazing. Last question is, what 3 things are you most grateful for?
What are the things I'm most grateful for?
3 things.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
The 3 things that I'm most grateful for. First is my sobriety, because I would not have a life right now without it. Second is, I think, my family, in that I understand how lucky I am to have a mother and a father and a sister who support me no matter what. And then third, I think, is my community. That's all the gay boys and the sober boys that I'm close with. And my community also includes all of the kids and the people that I work with. As annoying as some of my coworkers are, I am very grateful to have them in my life, if not to raise me up, to keep me balanced, to keep me focused, for sure.
Beautiful. I can see all of them clapping right now. Right, not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay, yes.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Let's start with family.
Sister.
Money.
That's too, money is comfort.
Love.
Acceptance. Not very good at it.
No, I love it. Life.
Happiness.
Sex.
Love. Love it. Love it.
It's love or you love it?
I love it. I love it.
Politics.
Complicated.
Religion.
Problematic.
Fear.
Constant.
Friendship.
Important.
Desire.
Essential.
Regret.
Regret. Important, but not all-consuming.
Success.
Relative.
Wish.
Wish. That's, oh, you stumped me. Wish. Exciting.
Okay. Happiness.
Current.
One word for Boston.
One word for Boston. One word. Home.
One word for USA.
Awkward.
Your face was awkward.
Yeah, sorry guys. Sorry about it.
One word for sober activist.
Me.
And the last one now, gymnastic. One word.
Life. Gymnastics is life.
Amazing. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your lovely sister for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, what is the most beautiful thing about Dave, and what's something that he still needs to work on to improve on? What she would say?
She would say the best thing about me is my compassion and my humor, for sure. And one thing she would say I have to work on is calling mom and dad more often.
If I would ask, you discreetly said that you have someone in your life right now. If I would ask this person the same question, would be the same answer?
I think the thing that he like most likes about me for sure would be like my compassion and my humor. Probably the thing, we just started dating about a month ago, so I don't know if he has found anything wrong with me yet. No, but something I need to work on would probably be my I have this thing where like when someone says let's have a conversation later, I get in my head and I start to overthink. So probably my overthinking is something he would say. We like literally just talked about this before I got on, so this is probably straight from him to you. Is just that overthinking. Like I need to work on just trusting him and relaxing and not overthinking.
I think when this interview goes live, when I ask this question, just stop it, pause it to see his answer.
Right?
And you play it again. Let's play now, Dave, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question, right? You can ask me a question now.
All right. This one is, so I actually was part of like the pageant system here in Boston for a while. And this was one of my questions I would ask some of the girls that I interviewed, like Miss Massachusetts and stuff like that, was if you could be a mode of transportation, what would it be and why?
When you mean a mode of transportation, what do you mean by that?
Car, boat, airplane, taxi, any of that stuff.
Okay. Oh,
yes.
I learned something new. A mode of transportation. I love that. Okay. Oh my God, you put me to the spot now. But actually, the first thing that the answer that came to my mind, that would be an airplane. You know why? Because I would go faster to places, because I love traveling. I love to see new places. And I think by plane, I'll do that very, very quick. And I'll be able to go, you know, different places quicker and faster. And I'll be able to visit more places around the world.
Good answer. I like that.
Ooh, oh my God. I'm going to reach 1,000 interviews in less than 2 months, and nobody asked me this question yet. I love it. I love it.
There was one question that I would ask. So like whenever you're interviewing anyone for a pageant like that, the idea is that the contestant appears intelligent, but also like very politically neutral. And to represent a whole state or a whole country, you don't want to be too polarizing in either direction. And so whenever a really, really smart girl would come up, I would say one of the questions that I would ask her would be, if you could drop one national holiday off of the calendar, what would it be and why?
Actually, I'm going to put this question in the magic box for now.
There we go. Boop, do it. Because like for us here in the United States, the liberal correct answer is Columbus Day, because Christopher Columbus came to this country and decimated the indigenous population.
I see.
But that also kind of is a little bit more on the liberal side of the answer. And so I had one girl one time, like up on that podium, look at me, and the whole interview, she was extremely powerful and extreme like CEO energy.
Right.
And she's like, I guess like Flag Day, because like I never know when it is. And I was like, you just whacked my question right out of the air. I was like, good girl, good job.
I love that. Imagine now, absolutely. If you don't mind, I'm gonna put this question on my batch box, and actually,
absolutely,
people from other countries to see what they're gonna say. Oh my God, I love it.
Good one.
Wow. Did you enjoy the interview?
Absolutely, that was incredible. It was really great. I loved it.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave. I love talking to you. My goodness, it educated me a lot in gymnastics, and I loved listen to you talking about your journey, your sober journey so far. And so beautiful, nice to see a beautiful man talking about that so open. And for sure, this will help a lot of people because, again, a lot of people, a lot of people might be involved in the same situation, and sometimes they don't know where to go. Sometimes they think that maybe it just happened to certain people, this and that. And see someone talking so open like that, you know what I mean? I think it's amazing, so comfortable, because you talk very comfortable about it. And I think it's amazing. People appreciate that, and they can see that, you know, you're never alone out there. There's so many people maybe facing the same situation as us, not just negative, but positive as well. You know what I mean? People might be having the best of their lives, you know, and sometimes it's good to see or to know that someone is having the same moment as well. So thank you very much for being so open.
Of course, absolutely. That's one of my biggest things, is to just be upfront about it, because you don't know who's watching.
Amazing. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
So when I first got sober, my sober mentor at the first kickoff of this 3 years I'm in currently, so this is my current sobriety, this man that I had known for years was my sober coach until I could get into some like professional help. And it was the first day of my sober journey, and I was so devastated. And I felt so guilty. And he said to me, no matter how bad you think you've screwed up, someone has done something 10 times worse and is on the last stop of their book tour about it. You're going to be fine.
Wow. What a powerful thing to say. My goodness. Amazing.
Like I was just a shooken up little thing, just like so hurt. And it was just like to kick a little perspective into me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And I see you in London sometimes, okay?
Yes, I would love that. I'm trying to get back over there at some point, so we'll see for sure.
Thanks so much. Have a nice weekend. It was a pleasure to connect with you. Okay, Dave? Keep in touch.
You too.
Okay?
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show, and I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.